All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at a serious face-off between two AI coding heavyweights, OpenAI's Codex CLI and Anthropic's Claude Code. You've probably seen the chatter online. Everyone's debating which one is actually the best. So we're going to dig into a real head-to-head test and see what the results tell us. So the big question floating around the developer community is this. Has OpenAI's coder finally managed to dethrone the fan favorite Claude Code? I mean, the hype is absolutely real. But does it actually hold up when you put it to the test in the real world? That's what we're here to find out.
And look, this isn't just random chatter on a forum. We're talking about some pretty wild claims. Take this one developer's post, for example. They said they gave a task to Codex CLI, and bam, 90% test coverage in just 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Claude's top-tier model, Opus, was stuck below 10%. I mean, when you see a gap that huge, you just have to run a proper comparison, right?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of all this, one creator decided to cut through the noise and put these two tools to the test. They set up this awesome 3-round showdown, a real gauntlet, you could say. And this wasn't some simple hello world test either. We're talking about real-world production code bases. This is where we see who really comes out on top. All right, let's kick things off with challenge number 1, a pretty gnarly database task. The mission to completely refactor a notification system. And not just any refactor. They had to switch it over to use vector embeddings. If you're not familiar, just think of them as a really smart way for the computer to understand and organize data. This is a serious test of how well an AI can handle back-end logic. And right away, you can see how differently these two AIs think. It's fascinating. Codex CLI went straight for efficiency, almost like a seasoned engineer. It spit out one single optimized function and even thought ahead to handle tricky edge cases like null values. But Claude was the perfect student. It listened to the instructions exactly as they were given and created two separate functions just like the prompt asked. Two totally different approaches. So the big question is, who wins round 1? You might think Codex, with its more efficient code, would take it. But nope, the creator actually handed the win to Claude Code. Why? Because, as he put it, Claude actually followed his instructions more clearly. In this case, being a good listener was more important than being a clever coder. So point 1 goes to Claude. All right, on to round 2. This time, we're switching gears from the back end to the front end. The challenge? To build a brand new feature for a complex Next.js app. This is all about user interface, design, and making things look and feel right. Okay, but before we even get to the code they produced, check this out. Look at the token usage. Claude used about 72,000 tokens. Codex CLI, a whopping 130,000. That's almost double. Now, you'd think for nearly twice the work, you'd get a much better result, right? Well, let's see if that's actually what happened. And this is where it gets really telling. Codex CLI's feature, well, it worked. It was functional. But the design was all over the place, totally inconsistent with the rest of the app. And it completely missed a major security detail, a tool approval mode. Claude, on the other hand, was so much more thoughtful. The design was a perfect match. It remembered to add that security step, and it even organized the code in a smarter way. Just a more polished, complete solution all around. So, yeah, the verdict for round 2 was pretty clear-cut. The creator much preferred Claude's version. It just fit right in, and it considered all those little details that Codex completely blew past. And just like that, Claude Code takes another win. The score is now 2-0. Okay, here we go. The final challenge, the design test. This is where we put that online hype about Codex CLI's SwiftUI skills to the ultimate test. The task sounds almost impossible. Recreate a super complex neon-style audio visualizer from just a single image. This is a tough one. And wow, the results were like night and day. I mean, it wasn't even a competition. Codex CLI absolutely crushed it. It made this incredible dynamic visualizer with a neon wave effect that actually reacted to your voice. It totally lived up to the hype. Claude, on the other hand, well, it really struggled. The result was nowhere near the design in the picture. It just couldn't seem to figure out what to do with that image prompt. Yeah, there was no debate on this one. The creator's verdict was simple. Claude just did not do as good of a job. And you'll see the quote here actually says GPT-5. That's just the really powerful OpenAI model that Codex was running on for this test. So a huge win for OpenAI here, which brings the final score to a 2-2 tie. So we end in a tie. What does that actually mean? Well, the big takeaway here isn't that one tool is definitively better. The real lesson is that it's all about choosing the right tool for the right job. They're both specialists. Let's just break it down nice and simple.
If you're doing web development, especially with something like Next.js, Claude is probably your go-to. It's just better at matching design and catching those little details. But if you're working in SwiftUI or doing anything really visual, Codex CLI is in a league of its own. It also seems to write faster code right out of the box. But interestingly, when it comes to just using the tool itself, the command line experience, Claude still feels a bit more polished. And all of this points to this really cool, emerging idea called a multi-agent workflow. Basically, the idea is you stop looking for one AI to do everything. Instead, you build a team of AI assistants. You use each one for what it's best at. It's like having a whole toolkit instead of just trying to build a house with only a hammer.
And that toolkit idea is so important because, let's be real, none of these tools are perfect yet. Even the super powerful Codex CLI has some rough edges. The creator pointed out a few annoying things. You need this clunky workaround just to upload an image, it keeps asking for permissions over and over, and it always defaults back to a weaker model when you start a new session. Little things that can really slow you down. So really, what this all comes down to is that we're asking the wrong question. It's not about which AI coder will rule them all. The real question, the one you should be thinking about, is this. Is the future of coding about finding one magic AI, or is it about becoming the manager of your own team of AI specialists? After seeing this showdown, it really looks like the future is all about building that AI dream team.